Hello listeners of Beartown Radio, DC Wood, presenter of The Box of Stuff here. As you know, I've been reviewing a lot of Doctor Who stuff lately, such as the Destiny of the Doctor audio series and the recent Doctor Who novel, Engines of War by George Mann. Of course, that was in anticipation for Series 8 of Doctor Who, which featured the debut of the 12th Doctor himself, Peter Capaldi, ably assisted, of course, by Clara Oswald, Jenna Coleman. Like The Day of the Doctor last year, the first episode of Series 8, Deep Breath, would be screened at selected cinemas worldwide. Like the 50th anniversary special, I leapt at the chance to see the first episode of the new series on the big screen. What was the experience like? Well, I'll tell you, shall I? Back in November, when The Day of the Doctor arrived, I went to the View Cinema in Newcastle to see it in 3D with my cousin. Fans who witnessed the whole spectacle at the pictures will all tell you the same thing I will. So many fans were dressed up as either doctors or companions. There were so many unforgettable moments throughout that special. We all reacted as such, and by the time it had finished, everyone applauded and cheered. It was sensational, and I was hoping for a similar experience again last night, and that's what I got. To start off with the cinema I went to, the Cinemac is a wonderful little independent cinema that screens films in the Heritage Centre in Macclesfield, Cheshire. I've been going there for years and it's fab. I've seen films such as Wall-E, The Dark Knight, Quantum of Solace, Iron Man 3, The Dark Knight Rises, among other things. The Cinemac always shows the latest films there, and the atmosphere is always fantastic. There's a great snack bar, the staff are always friendly. It feels exactly like an old cinema should. And if you're near Macclesfield, if you live in Macclesfield, I do recommend this place to check out the latest movies. You won't be disappointed by it. It's a great little venue. And when me and my sister got there last night, the staff had a replica Dalek on display to welcome customers. The staff members told us that the Dalek had been built by the nearest school, by a local school. I forgot the name. They told me. I'm sorry about that. And they used, the people who built it used official plans drawn by the BBC for the old Doctor Who series, and you could tell just how great of a job the school had done constructing it. People could take photos of themselves with the Dalek, which I naturally did, and there were various renditions of the Doctor Who theme playing in the cinema to excite fans. The staff did a great job to entertain fans and welcome them and ensure they got their money's worth. Now, obviously, Deep Breath was going to be shown on television at the same time as it was at the pictures at 10 to 8 on BBC One. So people are going to be asking, why would you pay to say something that you could easily see at home for free? Well, my answer to that question is the same I give regarding The Day of the Doctor. Deep Breath is an episode that frankly merits the same cinematic treatment, but like The Day of the Doctor screening of the pictures, there were bonuses for those who chose to pay to see it on the big screen. While the Cinemac obviously doesn't have the same 3D functions as, say, The View in Newcastle, there were extra programmes before and after the main feature, and all this extra material made the whole experience worth the £9 ticket price, in my opinion. And before the episode itself began, we were treated into an ace little 5-minute prologue, courtesy of the character Strax, Dan Starkey, with cameos from Madame Vastra, Neve McIntosh, and Jenny, Catherine Stewart. This was basically a humorous intro to newer fans explaining the Doctor's ability to regenerate and recapping the Doctor's different incarnations and how we got to Peter Capaldi. In a nutshell, this was funny, witty, brilliant. Strax, as well as Vastra and Jenny, have become a real hit with myself and fellow fans since their first appearance in Series 6's A Good Man Goes to War. And the Sontaran's demeanour is a perfect choice for not only recapping the Doctor's background, but also entertaining fans in anticipation for the main feature itself. It was a wonderful cinematic short, every bit as informative, hilarious as Strax's mobile phone illegal recording warning from the Day of the Doctor's film screening. This was a great little gem, and it was the best way to set the mood for cinema goers. A 5-star little treat, I say. And I just want to note right here and now that for the review of the main episode itself, I will not reveal any spoilers because I am aware that there are people out there who haven't seen the episode yet, so I'll keep things as secretive as possible and save the enjoyment for those who've yet to see the episode. And so moving on to last night's episode itself, Deep Breath. This was written by showrunner Stephen Moffat. The newly regenerated Doctor has crash-landed his TARDIS in Victorian London. He's amnesiac, unstable, and struggling to come to terms with his new face. And the Time Lord's behaviour, among other things, alienate Clara, who's struggling to come to terms with the 11th Doctor's departure. Old friends Madame Vastra, Jenny and Strax are needed to help, not just with the Doctor and Clara's damaged relationship, but with an insidious new threat that's on the rise. As I said before, Deep Breath is just as worthy of being on the big screen as The Day of the Doctor. Moffat's writing was on form here, full of great humour, tension, characterisation, subplots. There were morals, there were equality messages, and inventive psychological terrors. And it was all pulled off with coherency, and it was marvellously intricate. In the past, Stephen's creative direction, his writing, has been in grave danger of becoming too long-winded and lost within itself, such as episodes like The Big Bang and A Christmas Carol and the whole Silence Will Fall arc. However, there's no dangers here in Deep Breath. It all stands up perfectly well on its own 2 feet, and it sets the scene for Series 8 with terrific promise. I love the new look TARDIS, the interior of it, love the new opening credits and theme music. Wonderful stuff. And Peter Capaldi absolutely nailed it in his first outing as the 12th Doctor. Immediately, Capaldi understands how important it is to be himself in playing the Doctor. This is not someone pretending to be Matt Smith, David Tennant or anyone else. This is Peter Capaldi as the Doctor. And when his time comes to an end, I reckon Peter will have cemented himself as one of the all-time greats. His Doctor is unique, terrifying, unpredictable, serious, secretive. It's a far cry from previous incarnations over the last several years, and yet deep down it remains brilliant and caring. The 12th Doctor's costume, I love it. It's distinctive and iconic, and it provides an ace contrast from all his predecessors. There's nothing to be faulted at all whatsoever regarding the 12th Doctor, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of him. Jenna Coleman just continues to grow and impress as Clara. We've all come accustomed to Clara being strong, supportive, witty and sharp ever since she first arrived, but Moffat presents Clara here in a brand new light. She's deeply affected by this new Doctor when, having been the impossible girl, saving all his previous selves from the great intelligence, she should be used to the idea of change, you'd have thought, but however, Clara's relationship with the 11th Doctor was, to her, constant, and now it's no more. Cracks have appeared in Clara's armour, and she's now become more fragile than she's let on before. Jenna does an impeccable job in portraying all of this, especially her difficulties in her normal life, and this makes Clara all the more outstanding as a companion and a human being. Vastra, Jenny and Strax remain as welcome as ever, and they each get significant character focus, which is all the more pleasing. And Peter Ferdinando is absolutely convincing and terrifying. And that's all I'll say on that. As worthy of a cinema showing this episode was, though, Deep Breath won't be remembered as anywhere near as much as The Day of the Doctor. The 50th anniversary special was an event and a major game changer, and Deep Breath feels like the best is still yet to come. Is this a downright classic? Not really, in my opinion, and the episode does drag its feet a little in the last 10 minutes. Plus, while this latest story arc gets off to an excellent start, I'm not as enticed by it so far in the same way as I was for things like Bad Wolf, Torchwood, Medusa Cascade and the Impossible Girl sagas. However, these nitpicks don't deter me from rewatching the episode, and I think Deep Breath is an awesome start to Series 8, and I'd call this my favourite introductory episode to a Doctor Who ever. Much better than Rose, much better than Christmas Invasion, much better than The 11th Hour. It's exceptional, full of genuine shockers and emotional surprises, and I can't wait for the rest of the series at all. 5 stars. After Deep Breath had finished, we were told to remain in our seats for more goodies. But first came in a special Behind the Features mini documentary for Deep Breath. It featured chats with Peter Capaldi, Jenna Coleman, Stephen Moffat, and the rest of the cast and crew. This was, as you'd expect, a typical fascinating look into the makings of a Doctor Who episode and series. It was resplendent with great insights and chats, another terrific reward for those in the cinema. Of course, if you watch these religiously on DVD, box sets, YouTube, or an iPlayer, then Whovians already know what to expect. Still, this was another nice little goodie, though, and the main bonus attraction for people who'd gone to see this episode in the cinemas was a live Q&A, which, after the behind-the-scenes look, we remained in our seats for a few more minutes before the screen cut to a live feed of the Q&A session being conducted by Zoe Ball from Leicester Square. Peter Capaldi, Jenna Coleman and Stephen Moffat sat down and took questions that had been emailed via the BBC's open invitation through Doctor Who's official website and on Facebook. Sorry about that. The whole thing lasted half an hour, with some really great questions being asked from fans. There was enlightening discussions and promise of more things to look forward to in this series. The highlights of the Q&A were Peter telling his experiences and taking on the role, Jenna describing the differences between her relationships with Peter and Matt Smith's Doctors, and what visiting legions of Whovians all over the world was like. Again, this was another delightful bonus that came with seeing Doctor Who with pictures, but this did run on for half an hour, and by this time there were some people in the cinema who were getting a little bit tired and decided to leave. The Q&A did drag a little, but it was a good way to end what was a really fun night out. And while all this wasn't quite as monumental as Doctor Who's previous screening at cinemas, it nevertheless remained a fantastic experience, and cheers to the folk at the Cinemac for showing Deep Breath and for welcoming local residents and those out of town. They did a great job, and it was a really memorable night, and 5 stars. Now, as I said before, the Cinemac show all the latest films currently playing around the country. If you live in Macclesfield or Congleton or anywhere nearby in Cheshire, I can't recommend the Cinemac enough. It's a wonderful little cinema, and they don't just screen movies, they show events like Doctor Who. They also show live theatre, stuff from the Royal Opera House. They even recently screened the latest Monty Python tour from the O'Toole building via a live feed at this place. And for more information on their show schedule, ticket prices, etc., why not check out their website at www.cinemac.org.uk. They also have a Facebook page, the link to which can be found in the description of this video for Facebook users. Doctor Who Series 8, as we know, is on Saturdays at BBC One. I won't be reviewing any more Doctor Who related stuff for some time, as I've got other events to cover, projects to complete now, but I'll be tuning in and looking forward to the rest of the series. Can't wait, fellow Whovians, can't wait. And thanks again, as always, for listening, folks. This is DC Wood closing the lid on the box of stuff. See you again soon.